listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.
Good Monday morning,
Good
everyone.
morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good
we
morning,
are back
everyone.
live.
Yes, we are. We're
took
live.
a little break.
We did. You know, everybody needs a little break every now and again. But we are here live this morning. Good Monday morning here, Monday, November 13th. Ooh, looking at the 13th today, 2007.
On a Monday.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Table for Five. We have a great in-studio guest today. We have someone else at the table today. Yes. And for you, our viewing and listening audience, there's always going to be a seat at our table for you whenever you would like. So please join us every Monday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be here on your computer, on your Facebook, on your whatever you're listening or watching us on. So tell your mom, tell your friends, tell everybody.
Yes.
Join in, watching,
Yes.
listening, call in. We've got a great show for you today. And as always, let me give you the number if you want to participate in the conversation. You know, we have several different ways to do that, either through our social media or if you just, are old school and want to go back to the call in on the telephone, landline. I don't know. Does anybody have landlines out there anymore?
Yes, I have a landline.
I do too. I'm just saying. I always get crap for having a landline.
No,
like,
never get rid of your landline. Everybody should have a landline.
I agree. I like
right?
that. Yes.
See?
Yes. So if you want to call on a landline, on a cell phone, on a computer, Skype, whatever you want, the number to call in is 818-570-5085. Again, 818-570-5085 for our great conversation that we're going to have today.
We're going to have a really, really exciting and informative conversation.
Yes.
That's our goal. So before we get started, we want to make sure you know how to connect with us. And we are on Facebook Live right now. So if you want to check us out, you could do it on your tablet, on your phone, and you can just leave comments and questions as the show progresses. So you can also find us on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our Twitter at Table. Everything's at Table 45, and our website, of course, which is a one-stop shop. Yep. Everything you want to know about us,
resource.
What we do, when we do it, and how we do it, is on Table 45, www.table-4, 5.com. So you can go there and get all kind of caught up with all our shows, what we've done, and our guests.
Yes.
And there's
and look, there's a new feature there on our website.
Yes,
you will get to see where you could become a sponsor.
Yes.
Sponsor of the show. And speaking of sponsors, we're not going to do the clapping right now.
Okay, we're not doing the clapping.
But speaking of sponsors, we do have some sponsors.
Our first sponsor.
Yes, okay, I will give it.
Official. Our first official sponsor.
Yes.
Oh, that was short. Wow, that was a
constraint.
millisecond of an applause.
What a time constraint. So our first official sponsor, so today's show, Table for Five, is being brought to you by Robert Mata Designs. If you are looking for that perfect gift for that perfect guy, I want you to go to www.robertmatadesigns, 3 words, all in one space.com. Again, www.robertmatadesigns.com. Robert Mata Designs for the well-dressed man.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert Mata Designs, for bringing the show to us today.
Yes, for bringing the show for us today.
Yes, great gifts, like for real.
No,
if you
it's no
need
joke.
Gifts,
we're not playing.
Yeah, no, for real. If you need gifts, ties, pocket squares, fantastic gifts for the coming up holidays, birthdays. I know my husband's birthday is coming up, so
you need to get
you could get a suit too.
Yes,
like if you're really,
you want to go that extra mile. You want to go that extra mile.
Custom.
Yes.
So today's show, we're going to jump right into it. Kind of, sort of. We're going to do a little bit of hot topics, but I just want to let you guys know what today's show is. Our topic for today is our society in a sexual epidemic? Listen, I know that you have been inundated since last week and all weekend about the sexual harassment conversation, and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to continue it on. We're going to have a conversation on sexual harassment and sexual abuse with our very fantastic guest here this morning, Kim Roth, the Executive Director of Strength United.
Yes.
Wonderful organization. And so we are going to delve into that conversation, and I want it to be, a solution-based conversation too. I don't want to just sit here and talk about. There's a lot of stuff that has been talked about over and over and over and over again, but we're going to have some real good ideas and just have a good conversation about it, and let's see what else that we can bring up and bring to the table. But before we get started, what did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? First, I want to talk about what I did the weekend before.
Oh, okay, yes, right.
Because we were off on a Monday, and so I just want to give a shout out. We took our son for his birthday as a
happy
surprise.
Birthday, Paul.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Belated birthday. Yes.
And we took him to go see Hamilton. Have you seen Hamilton?
No.
OMG. It should be on everybody's bucket list. Listen, I'm a theater lover by nature.
Yes,
I go to musicals, non-musicals. I support small theater. I just love theater. So, of course, this was the big show. Right?
Yeah, everybody's like crazy
This
for
is
Hamilton.
the big show, right? So when we were in New York last year, try to get tickets, not going to happen. Not for $1,000 in the mezzanine somewhere. So when it came to LA, of course, we were like, we have to do this. And our sons love the show, as do I. So we finally surprised our son. We went to see Hamilton. Everyone, honest to goodness, not because it's the latest and the greatest. It really is a phenomenal show. There's so many layers to it, the history behind it. I think the beauty of the show, the way it's put together, the diversity of the show, the irony and the diversity of what's being presented is brilliant. So there's a lot of layers to the show that people should just go, and I know it's really expensive. It really is. And I think that that's a shame what people are doing to theater.
To drive up the prices.
Yeah, because they're not allowing for people who can't afford an $800 ticket to go and see good theater and learn. So we went to see Hamilton, and of course...
Would you recommend, real quick, I'm going to cut you off. Would you recommend getting the soundtrack before and listening to the soundtrack?
Well, that's what we had. We had the soundtrack for a year and listened to it, and we were so enamored with the music. And
do you feel like it gives you any kind of insight to the story at all, or like...
If you listen,
if you're not like a theater person.
Yeah, it would serve the person who is not a
person.
theater person to hear the soundtrack, and because what you have this expectation, right? So this was our family. We had this huge expectation because we literally, my kids know verbatim the soundtrack. And we went in there and we were blown away. It exceeded our expectations.
Oh, wow.
Like we thought, we know what's going to come because we visualized it. Completely different.
Wow.
Completely unexpected. Just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant theater. So kudos to Mr. Lin-Manuel Miranda for that play.
Fantastic.
And that whole. So we were very honored to have
and
done
it's coming
that.
to Puerto Rico, too.
It's going to Puerto Rico. Well,
Yes.
it's
in 2019.
The tour, it ends in LA on December 30th, but then it goes to San Diego, then it goes to Arizona. I think they're showing it in Chicago right now. I'm not sure, but the whole touring company thing, you could go online and check it out and see it, and it's great. And then this weekend we were in Las Vegas, as if we needed anything else to do.
Vegas.
My son was playing in a lacrosse tournament for his school, and I drove by myself, but it's not a big deal because I've driven to San Francisco and I've done distances, but I was really tired. But we went, and it was great. They won the championship. They won
fantastic.
This little team. What is with you and those abrupt applause? Can you give me a full applause?
We're just giving a little.
Anyway, so they were 4-0 with another team that was 4-0 in this tournament. So we were really nervous because this team was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Can we say the name?
Lion Oaks. And then the other one was Lacrosse Blue Force. And they're club teams.
They're club teams.
Yeah,
okay.
and there were colleges
so it wasn't
there.
another school.
Okay.
Okay.
So you had universities there as well. So it was very fantastic.
Shout out to Oaks lacrosse team.
And so it was because it's off season for them. So their season doesn't start until the spring.
Okay.
So they do this off season. Anyway, long story short, it was the most exciting championship game because the other team had not lost either. So it's 8 hours on Saturday. Of lacrosse. Well,
Yeah.
And then
it's the same with basketball.
Yeah. And then the next day we had, we knew we were going to be in the championship because we hadn't lost. And so we had to stay for the, we were a little bummed because we had to stay later. So we got home. Yeah. But it was great. It was fun. It was exciting. We walked the strip. We did go. My husband and I, we went to see the memorial at the Mandalay Bay. That was really, that was
Is it still kind of like?
Well, what I was surprised was how close. When you see it in the media, they made it seem like the venue was over here and the hotel was over here. Well, no, it's like this close.
Oh, it was very close.
Yeah, it was right across the street. Literally, he was just that high up, and then the stage is still there.
Oh, wow.
It's totally cordoned off with like tarps and stuff. There's a lot of police officers there.
So there's still like investigation.
Yeah, I think there's still stuff going on. What they were removing on Sunday was all the flowers, and because it's kind of obstructing the sidewalk and stuff. So they were just going to move them to another location. So I wanted to see it before it was moved. So my husband and I drove out there because we weren't staying on the Strip when we drove over there, and it was gut-wrenching to think that the terror in that moment for these people. And in that Strip where there's hundreds and thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised. Scary. Listen, honest to God, it was a miracle he didn't kill more. Honest to God. Yes. Because of the location, the people walking.
Yes.
It was a miracle. And so that was really,
touching.
Yeah, it was really tough. But and then we come home and back to life.
Yay, back to life.
And Thanksgiving is next week, and I'm so unprepared.
Yes.
Like, I'm not even.
Yes. Yeah, I was
Are you prepared, Kim? Are you prepared?
Not at all. I'll be in London.
Oh my
fantastic.
Goodness. Well, yeah, I'm having a nervous breakdown.
Wish I could go someplace.
No, listen. Well, we're going out, but I'm normally, this is how crazy I am. I'm by Thanksgiving, I have all my gifts purchased. I haven't bought one thing.
Oh,
well, that's not
that's
true.
right.
I bought two things, but
yes, because Christmas is this one. Woo, she goes crazy for Christmas.
Yes.
I'm a Christmas Eve shopper.
Are you really?
By the seat of my pants.
No, I would have a absolute nervous breakdown. Everything is like by Christmas Eve wrapped. Everything's lovely.
Oh my God. By December 1st, I think everything is wrapped. Well, actually, day after Thanksgiving is when you go into full-blown Christmas mode.
Well, this week I'm going into full-blown Christmas mode because I did not believe, because my husband were having dinner and he's like, Thanksgiving's next week. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I think it's earlier this year. I don't know.
Is it? It is.
Okay.
It is.
So
it's a little earlier in the month as the
so I'm not losing my mind.
The dates go by. Yeah. I'm excited. My sister is coming.
Yeah. You're going to have a huge.
We're going to have lots of people in the house. So that's going to be very, very fun. And shout out, it is Thanksgiving. It's the month of giving thanks. So we want to say thank you to all of our listeners and viewers for all the love and the support that you guys have shown to us since we've been on the video channel at the end of the summer. And it's been really fun, and we're very excited to have some new things happening in January. And so we just want to say kind of thank you. Thank you for all of the love and the support. And
thank you.
Shout out to you all. Yes. Do we have anybody following us on Facebook
yes,
right now?
Yes, we are. We have a couple of people.
Shout outs?
No comments yet, but views and reaches and views. Yeah, we have people watching.
Well, shout out to everybody on Facebook today. Today's our day of thankfulness.
Yes, it is.
It's thankful. The month of being thankful. My weekend, it was kind of quiet. I did go to this fabulous, I guess, purse designer event. I've been following. I'm kind of an Instagram internet stalker person when it comes to like things that I like my nails. If you followed us, I stalked two brown-eyed girls for like 2 years.
They were guests on our shows. That's how much you wanted to meet them. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I stalk things that I love and that I like, and so there's this designer called Hammett. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's a LA-based purse designer. They make really wonderful quality purses, beautiful. And you can find them in like boutiques and stuff like that, and then at some resorts. I've seen them at some resorts, and so I've been trying for like 2 years to go. Twice a year they have this event where they do sample sales, and you can get like discounted stuff, and it was really crazy. Like, I did not know what to expect, but there was 2 ballrooms filled with women and purses. If you can just kind of like imagine that. I don't know if you're a purse person or not.
Definitely.
Or you are? Okay, well then this is kind of like the mecca of, I don't know, some kind of and you just get caught up in like the frenzy. Like,
and what city were this?
It was in Manhattan Beach.
Oh, okay.
And literally there were women with like bags hanging off of them because you go and you kind of like pick what you want, and then it's like everyone's like kind of hoarding it to walk around with
for this one designer.
Yes.
So do you think there are boutiques in there buying stuff, or is it just
what do you mean?
Like, are people coming from other little boutique stores and buying out stuff?
No,
and
I think these are all. I think these are all just regular consumers, but they're just trying, because the deals are so good. So they're trying to like stock up, and I think a lot of people are trying to get Christmas gifts and stuff like that. So literally, there were women with like 10 bags like hanging on them and carrying them. So you kind of had to like walk around and kind of like stalk someone and wait for them to like, okay, do I want this? I'm gonna put it down, and then they put it down, and you pick it up, and you're like, okay. So like by the time I checked out, I was like there, like, okay, all right. all right, I got to weed this down. I had like 10 purses in my hand, but you get caught up. Like at first I was like, what are all these people doing? And then I was like, oh, okay. All right. Oh my God. Okay. I got to pick this up. So it was a little interesting. And then the guy, I believe he's the designer. I had never seen this. He was on like these custom roller skates. They were white alligator shoes that he had turned into roller skates. And he had on a red suit with an open shirt. So it was a very interesting thing. Yes, but they had free food and free drinks.
That was fun.
Yeah, and it was a free event.
Did you go by yourself?
I did, girl. I went.
You were determined.
I was like, I'm gonna get me a purse today, and I came out with 5.
That's awesome, though.
Yes.
But you got a great deal.
I did. I got a great deal.
Yeah.
So enough about that. Enough about our fun.
So that's
fun,
what
fun
we
stuff.
did.
Yes. So we're going to jump right on into it, into our topic today. And we don't want to like bring down the mood because we need to continue to be upbeat and be empowered because this isn't like a somber stuff.
No, because I think what we want to do, the goal today is to give information and resources for folks. We want to define what's going on. We want a clear definition. And I think we'll get that. We'll get that. It is a heavy topic, but it's what's going on right now. And we're women in this industry. And, we both have our own experiences.
Yes. So I was part of the Me Too. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that.
Did you know? Okay, let's introduce Kim before we get into that. Okay, so I want to introduce our special guest. Our special guest is Kim Goldberg Roth. She's the Executive Director of Strength United. I'm just going to read a little bit of your bio, if you don't mind. With a master's degree in marriage and family therapy from CSUN University and the executive director of Strength United, a chartered center of the Michael D. Eisner College of Education. Kim has extensive experience in the field of child maltreatment, domestic and sexual violence. I also wanted to say you established the first family justice center in the Los Angeles County.
That is
correct.
amazing.
Fantastic. Let me give you a little round.
I know. Okay, give her a full one. Don't call it up. There you go. Okay. So we do have someone sitting here who's informed. She's educated. We will entertain you, but I'm sure we're so honored to have you here.
Yes,
and
thank you so
for
much.
accepting our invitation. I do want to give out some information. It'll be on our Facebook page, and it'll
on the website.
Hi, ladies. Oh, Veronica Loving is on right now. Thank you, Veronica. I want to give out some information. You can go to www.strengthunited.com. The website is full of information, resources, phone numbers. It's a phenomenal one-stop resources of information.
Absolutely.
I thought it's really, really good.
You.
Very user friendly too.
Yes,
to navigate the website is very user friendly. So if you have an issue,
and there's also a 24-hour support line, and there's an 818-866-0453. And there's a 661-253-0258. These phone numbers will be on our Facebook Live. They'll be posted shortly. And also they'll be on our gallery page. And they're on the website, strengthunited.com. So you can check that out. But we want to thank you for joining us in this interesting climate. Is our society in a sexual epidemic conversation on sexual harassment and sexual assault. Yes. I want to start, I mean,
I just had a quick question. So what is the 24-hour support hotline for? Like what would one use it for? Why would someone call?
One might use it to get help.
Okay.
So if one has been sexually assaulted and recognizes this is what's happened to me, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know what I want to do about that, you could call the hotline. Sexual violence, sexual harassment is a very confusing experience.
Yes.
So people often are confused about what happened to me.
Right.
So you could call the hotline, took that through.
Okay.
What happened?
Right.
And what are my choices?
Ooh, right. Because you're thinking like, okay, do I call 911? Because it's different if you're in an alley and you're attacked. That's different. Then people are like, I'm going to call 911. Right. But if you're at your office job and something happens and you're like, go on your lunch hour and you're like, what the hell just happened to me?
Right.
Exactly. Okay. And because we know that 98% of sexual assault occurs with someone you know, right? So it brings along these additional complications. If I'm going to say something about it, what's happening to my job, what's happening to my friendship, what's happening to my family.
Okay.
So you can call the hotline and sort that out.
Who's on the other line of the hotline? Are they therapists answering the phone?
They're rape crisis sexual assault counselors.
Okay.
And they've all received training at the center.
Okay.
And so they're really there to help you, support, listen. We're not there to tell you what to do.
Wow.
Perfect.
Right?
Okay, so I want to start this off with, obviously, there's a sexual harassment, sexual assault conversation that's been happening for weeks now. I'm curious, is there the difference between sexual harassment and sexual assault, if you could explain that to folks who are listening?
Sure. So when we think about sexual assault or sexual violence, we're thinking about obviously something without our consent that's physical, that can include physical, verbal threats, penetration, and fondling, right? When we think about sexual harassment, we can think about all the things that come with sexual assault or without them. So a person can just be exposed to nasty jokes, innuendo, leers, sexual leers. They can be texted or emailed, and this can all be highly sexualized, derogatory comments about the person. But what's very important is it can also be the reason you're employed or not employed, right? So if you tolerate this, maybe you'll continue to be employed, you'll be promoted, or maybe you won't. So it's always happening in sexual harassment, generally by people who have positions of authority, and they feel they're entitled.
Right. One of the things that we watched a town hall special on CNN called Tipping Point, and Anita Hill, who I feel is like the face of this 100 years ago.
I was so happy. I was so impressed to see her there, by the way. I was like, wow.
She said something that I thought was quotable, is that sexual harassment, sexual assault is something that happens to you. It is not who you are. And women, when it happens to you, it kind of creates an identity. I'm that person. I'm that person. And I thought that was really interesting that she would say that.
And it's been 25 years. I just want to point that out. I had not realized it, but it's been 25 years since her accusations came up. And I was astounded that here we are 25 years later, because still talking about it in a very big way.
And this is why I could say this will just go away and come back.
No,
and,
I don't think so.
It will, because it did with her. She was before a Supreme Court justice. I mean, that's the highest of offices.
And he still got
nominated. Right. And she went away into private life. And I mean, this conversation will continue on. This hysteria that we're living in will go to the back. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it'll go back because people will calm down, everybody will get to what they need, and people will get training.
What I'm hoping, go ahead, sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Yeah.
No, and I'm just feeling, because the point you just made is that this happened 25 years ago, and we're still there.
But what's the difference? So this is the difference to me, and I'll let you talk in just a second. Hold that thought. I think the difference to me is that it's becoming, people are getting hit in the pockets. There are more people that are in power of other things like marketing and, who's paying people off and sponsors and stuff like that. They're not taking it anymore. You didn't see that back then. You didn't see it, back in the 80s or in the last 25 years. Right. I think the reason why that, people are saying it's all in the media and it's, somewhat hysterical is because we're hearing about it, because we're hearing about the repercussions in such a big way. Right. Netflix is pulling the rest of the show. They're like, we're done. The other guy, Lewis, the movie is not coming out. They're like, we're done. So now that it's being like people's money, they're in their pocket. When people get hit in the pocket, I think things will I think that's going to be a catalyst, I'm hoping, for a change, because now people are like, oh, well, let me stand up and really take notice. If you don't get to run, for your Senate position because you thought it was okay to have relations with 14-year-old girls, obviously all of that man's life thought he was okay to do that. Now we're telling you, no, you're not going to be able to run. I think things are changing. So we have to grab hold of that and let go of the hysteria part and really get in there and do the work and say, okay, how do we keep this momentum going? How do we keep this ball rolling?
What do you think?
I think in some ways you're both right.
Oh, look how diplomatic is she. That's why she's sitting in the middle.
The first thing I want to say, getting back to Anita Hill, and it's something that happened to you and it's not who you are. We always say, if you think about yourself as a patchwork quilt, harassment or sexual violence can be one of those patches. It's not the totality of the quilt or you. It's an experience you can't unchange, but it happened. Right. But how you live with it and how you move forward is the thing that you can change. Okay. So that's the way we like to look at it. Why do I think you're both right? Well, you're right in one way because this is such a societal issue because of the rape culture we have in our society. Yes. It's almost embedded in our DNA, right? So it's something we've got to unlearn, how we treat others, not just women, but people of all orientations and genders. How do we treat and respect others? And that takes discipline and undoing. And there's a huge investment in our media and our film industry and our music industry, that even our modeling industry and our advertising, that sort of exploits that.
Absolutely.
So when we also think that the television's become the number one babysitter in our country, we have to see what is it that children are looking at every day. And so they're looking at this concept that force, sex, love, intimacy, they're all put together, but they all come with force. I think you're right, because whenever something is going to affect our checkbook, the status of our company, we're going to move quickly to change that. And I think it's really interesting in this current climate how quickly people like Netflix made their decision. And I felt, so did you know this was happening all along? But now that this is public,
it's public information.
You've moved quickly to seize that. So
that's interesting. And I want to get back to something too that you said too about the television being the babysitter, because I kind of feel like it has to come all the way back down. And my question to you as a therapist is, what are we doing as parents, as a society? Because it's easy to say the media, the television, the music, but I feel like if people had this underlying sense of self-esteem and self-worth, no matter what comes your way, you would be able to handle it or get out of it. And I feel, I mean, not to like put pressure on people or women or say that this is a reason why, but I feel like there's pressure because, you know, you might lose your job. But it all comes down to a self-esteem issue. Like if you're in a room of people, and I wanted to talk about the psychology of this too, what is the difference between being part of it and making it so that it's uncomfortable? So if you're the only woman in the room and everyone else is making lewd jokes, does it bother you? Does it not bother you? If it bothers you, are you supposed to stand up and say something? And the reason why you don't, is it because you have low self-esteem, or because it doesn't really bother you and you really don't care?
So great question. So the first thing is about parents. So as you know, for a lot of parents, we tell our children what to do. We don't necessarily model for our children what we do. So I think we have to model good behavior. And we have to point out when we see sexualization or inappropriate behavior, whether that's on TV or in a song. We have to have discussions about that.
Exactly.
We have to have those discussions. We have to get away, especially with our girls, from dressing them as though they're dolls to dressing them as though they're people. Because if you look at a lot of the clothing that we have for young girls, it's highly sexualized. You know, you'll see girls wearing little trousers that have juicy on the bottom, you know.
But the people will argue, I should have the right to wear what I want to wear. I should be able to wear juicy on my butt. I should be able to say, come grab my butt, without anybody actually doing it if I want to.
No, I disagree, but go ahead.
But people will say, I want to have freedom. You have to have
But why would you wear that to begin with? Because you want to attract attention. It's the same.
Maybe not. Maybe they like the color of the juicy shorts. I don't know.
I think it's about having information, right? So you should be able to wear that, but understand the message that might give out. And so do you have the ability to then handle that message?
That's
is
a
that
good point.
the message that you want to receive?
Right.
And is it the message that you want your 8-year-old child to receive?
Right.
True. And if you're wearing it, I think in confidence, that's different. If you're wearing it out and, you know, a man comments on it, then you have to be able to have the wherewithal to stand up for yourself and say, it's not about what I'm wearing. You have to be able to defend yourself and defend that conversation. Whereas you're right, a lot of women maybe that are wearing it, I just want to wear it, I just want to be cute. It's for me. It's for me. It's for me. But then you allow people to make those comments to you. You don't stand up for yourself. You're not advocating for yourself. You just want to wear it.
Yeah, but she's talking about kids.
Yes, no. Well, I think it starts at the children's
So that's
age.
what she's talking about.
And
the
then
parenting.
and then I guess when you said we have to make them stop dressing like dolls, and I'm like, but then we got to take away the dresses and stuff like that. We don't make them. No, I don't want to not make them cute. I don't want to not make women cute and attractive because you don't want to draw attention to yourself.
No, that's not what she's saying.
We don't have to do that. No. But what I'm saying is that we have to help our children understand that they are perfect people regardless. Right?
Yes.
So we're going to be loved no matter what.
Right.
We're going to have attention and feel good about ourselves no matter what. So it's not what we wear. Mm-hmm. It's not how we look. It's that we are good enough. Mm-hmm. But when we give the message that you'll be likable and you will get attention if you are a certain way, then we disempower people.
Yeah. Right? And how do we do that now in this society of selfies
it's culture.
And
it's the culture of our
Stop with the selfies. or I guess we how do we change it when we are part of the problem, or our kids are part of the problem, where they're like, how do you do it where it's entertainment? Draw boundaries, I guess, is what you have to do. Like, not make it, oh my God, so much. How many likes do I have? Because I know friends who have children who are like, how many likes do I have? Like, I think you have to take that part of the conversation out of it. When we do social media, when I'm on social media with my kids, it's not about the likes. It's about getting the information out there. And, because you want it out there, because you want people to see it. It's not necessarily about how it's received. You put it out there because you want it out there.
It's set up. That's pie in the sky. Because it's set up that way.
But I think everybody has to try to do that.
No, because Instagram is set up for people to like. That's the point of it. For people, so you can feel validated.
Studies about that, right? Like how this is becoming an addictive.
Yeah, so that's the way Instagram is. You're not going to have an Instagram and not ever be concerned whether you have a like. Because Instagram is, you look at the picture and you like it. That's what it's for. So to say, oh, don't worry about the likes. No, if you're on Instagram, you want the people to like. But you want the people to follow you.
But again, getting back to parents, right? Education and information is power. So I think it's always about talking to our children about what is the meaning of something and what is the choice that they have.
And we're talking to both, right? We're talking to our girls and our boys.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I have sons, so it's a little different for me. My son, Paul, it's very funny because I'll tell him, like, why don't you post more pictures? And he looks at me like, I'm like, why do you have Instagram? But he has Instagram to follow other people, not so much to post things about himself. Right. So that's kind of different. And then my oldest is on Instagram, and I mean, if he posts a picture, it'd be a miracle. I'll be like, oh, you put something up? And he's a young adult. So I don't know, for guys, it might be a little different. I know my boys say that there are young men out there that post their bodies, like how fit they are and what they look like. And so, we're having this conversation about women, but it also, you can flip it to the other way.
I think it's attention seeking, no matter where it's coming from. Absolutely. It's attention seeking.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I guess the first root of the problem I think that we've discovered is that we are attention seeking society. Yeah. So how do we change that? And you're saying as parents, it has to start with parenting. Right. Yeah. We've got to would you say that we need to do a better job in building our self-esteem and teaching self-esteem to our children, boys and girls? Because once you love yourself, then it's going to be harder for someone to make you a victim.
And why do we seek attention? Because oftentimes we're not getting it at home, right?
Gotcha.
So we're looking outside for attention. So we're an incredibly busy world with many, many influences. So we need to just make sure we're stopping and we're listening to our children, we're observing our children, and we're communicating with our children. The number one thing that we can communicate is, you are fine just the way you are.
Right? That's good. Let's remember that. You're fine just the way you are.
And someone just said it's not the over-sexualizing, it's our kids. We should encourage encouraging their study, their brain, their, like, what's more important. I mean, God forbid something happens to a beautiful young lady that's no longer beautiful. What are her strengths? Is she an intelligent young lady? Is she a strong young lady? Is she a confident young lady? Because we just, for girls especially, we make it about what their appearance. 100%. I don't think boys struggle with that as much. As I'm sure there are some that do, but girls, it's what they look like, what they're wearing. And it's, ahead of the, like an 8-year-old looking like a 12-year-old or a 12-year-old looking like a 17-year-old.
Right.
There's a disconnect there. Yeah, you can say, well, I want to wear this, but is it age appropriate? Are you really, I just feel like there's an age appropriate.
I also don't want people to sit there and say, well, what message are you sending, daughter, if you wear this? If you feel comfortable in it, and I think it's an individual situation. I think, one, you have to know your child. I think, two, you have to understand, yes, the societal perception of something that maybe that your children, and it goes for boys too. I mean, boys with, saggy pants or big pants or whatever, or tight jeans or whatever, it's fashion. And so people, I think, in the fashion industry, I'm going to speak for y'all, may argue that again, you're taking away people's individualism. So I think you're going to have the conversation of, not only is this age appropriate, what are people going to look at you as? And then you have to empower that person and say, okay, if you're going to wear this, you might get this or you might get that, because people can also say, well, there's nothing wrong with beauty. There's nothing wrong with, putting on makeup and stuff like that. And I'm not going to take pageants and stuff away, because some people are not academic. Not everybody wants to go into the academic or an academic world. And so there are other fields, as an actress, as, and that plays a part
actresses
on how you look.
Some of the smartest people I know. So to say academic, that's kind of like throwing people under the bus.
Well, no, I'm just saying,
because I think whether you go to college or not, that's not what I'm referring to. I'm just saying being informed, being reader, being someone that is informed in what's going on in the current, not being informed by Instagram. Like, be informed about what's happening. It doesn't mean you're going to be a scientist. You could be an actress that went to Yale. You could be, I'm saying there are women who choose a different path. But I think we're off topic here, because I want to talk about. We're really off topic here, because I want to talk about. We can't. I feel like we're doing like this women blame game, but we have to go back to the harassment and the sexual assault part of this conversation.
Right, yes. Well, I think we went. How do we stop it in the beginning? Like, how does it go from little kids to big people?
A really, really important point. Sort of, if you're in an environment and you're being approached in a certain way, what do you do? What do people do? And we often talk about bystander responsibility, right? So, how many times have we been in a room when we've heard something inappropriate said to or about someone, and we have been silent, right? So I think it's about talking about saying, hey, I feel really uncomfortable, characterizing the person the way you characterize them, or I don't find that joke funny. It's objectifying people. I don't like the way you're hanging on to that person. So it's about us having responsibility and being
could
able
we really tell someone we don't like the way that they're hanging on to that person, though?
So
I don't know if I would feel. I'm an outspoken person, but I don't know if I would say something like that to that.
You're at a party and you can see someone is getting someone really, really drunk, and now you see that they're taking them off somewhere, and this person may not be knowing where they're going. You might have the feeling, hey, that person's being taken somewhere. It doesn't feel like they're in control. Would it be appropriate for you to just check in and say, how are you doing? Do you feel okay? Do you know where you're going? Right? But we have to think about that.
Yeah, well, that's how college rape happens, date rapes happen, because people turn the blind eye. Like, she's so drunk, she had it coming. Like, no, you knew she was drunk and you saw her walk away.
Yeah. I was just sitting here in myself thinking, like, girl, why are you drinking that much? Like,
right. So you would say that. I mean, I think we've gotten to a place where we have to say that. Yeah. Because then it's after the fact. Then you have the ringing of the bell after the fact.
If you think about what's happening in the media now and what we're learning about, think about the fact that everyone knew. Everyone knew.
And turned a blind eye.
And everyone was
quiet.
So
let me say this about that, because now I'm thinking about that scenario and situation. So me as a person, if I was faced with that, I might, why would I not say anything to her? Because I might feel like it's not going to do any good, because this is what she does all the time. Like, unless it's my friend, unless I know her, I'm going to go and I'm going to say, are you okay? You might have stopped it for that instance, but how do I know that person, that's not just that person's personality, that this is what she does all the time? I guess what you're saying is maybe I have to, you should be that one person, that one instance, but how can you, if that's someone's choice, how do you stop that? Like,
when you're bone drunk, that's not a choice.
It was your choice to continue drinking.
No, but she's saying
unless somebody puts somebody
if you're hanging out with a guy at and you see he's getting you drunk, and then he's walking you away, you have to say, okay, why did he just got her that drunk?
And I think it's about stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Because if we're going to, it's like all change. Yeah. All change only happens when we step out of our comfort zone and say, this is something that we cannot accept anymore. And so if you're at work and you're seeing that someone's being harassed and you know they're being harassed, the choice you have to make is, am I going to be of support to this person, or am I going to ignore this person?
That's, that's,
and being of support doesn't mean that you have to tell on them, but it means you're being of support to them.
Right.
To that person
One of the
directly.
things that was said in that town hall was that women need to stand up for each other. I think that, we go to that place, well, that's what she does. No, well, that shouldn't be what she does. That's not in her best interest. You should say, are you okay? Are you, like,
you feel safe?
You feel safe? So if she says, yeah, I feel safe, then okay, then you go. Then you go, girl, and be with whoever you want to be. But at that moment, when you're looking and you're going, this isn't, like, that's not cool to be stumbling out of here with somebody, because she's not going to be able to say stop. Even if she says stop, they're going to say, well, she was so drunk, she didn't know what she was doing. So that sets that up, and it's just that rape culture is like, well, she was drunk.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think so.
It's not a good situation.
No, good
so if someone, one of the things I was going to say was, we have, this is Hollywood, and Hollywood is having this issue. Congress is having this issue. Everywhere they're having this issue. But let's say McDonald's worker.
Right.
Some girl who's a single mom who has 2 kids and has to have this job and needs this job and the third job and this, what. And so how does that single mom find a resource or a way to be supported without losing that job that she really, really needs?
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. This is what's great about Right Now and Me Too, right? Is that it's lending a voice to a silent majority, really. And so I think that person who may be less empowered than the people we're seeing in the media right now needs to call a place like Strength United. There are many of sexual assault centers throughout Los Angeles County and in the nation. And that's where they start, because the first thing is to not be alone.
Okay.
Right?
And would you say, too, that they're going to give them things to say or verbiage to say? Because I like that idea. A lot of times I think people don't say stuff, or if you're in the middle of something, you don't know what to say. I mean, I'm thinking back to my incident. I was 19, worked, at a shoe store, was one of the only females there, was just a cashier. But, the manager used, I think, kind of his power, and it was very subtle. It was very subtle. And I think, too, we don't talk about it enough and educate our sons and our daughters to know that there are things that are subtle too that are not good, that you shouldn't put up with. So as a young person, you're like, okay, is this bad? Is this good? Do I go to human resources? What do I do? And I think people, like you said, feel unempowered, and you're like, well, I wasn't raped, I wasn't assaulted, but I think you're right. So what we're saying to people is find a resource, so you can find even a sexual I just lost my train of thought. It's sexual assault.
Right. So I think the first thing is you have to call. You have to know, what is it you want, right? So most people want to remain employed,
right.
And they want to be employable,
right?
So the problem is, if you say something and leave, and then you tell your next employer, well, why did you leave? Oh, because I was being sexually harassed. What are the chances you're going to be hired by the next employer? So if you call an organization like Strength United, they're going to help you determine what it is you want, and then how are you going to get what you want. So most of sexual assault agencies are linked to civil legal services.
Gotcha.
So we can then
that's
partner
great.
you
That's great.
for legal services to help you.
And then, so what is typically then the things that happen? Do you encourage, or are people encouraged then to like see if there's a human resources involved in their employer, and like, maybe I don't want to get my boss fired, I don't want to get them in trouble, I just want them to stop. Or do you say, or do they ever get counseled, like maybe you have a conversation with that person?
It's really it's really hard, because even though you might have human resources and you might have policies and procedures, they're not always transparent, they're not always enforced.
Yes.
Again, there's a power differential.
Yeah.
So you, the person, know that power differential at your place of employment. So is it that you're going to quietly find a different opportunity for yourself so you can get out of there and get employed somewhere else, because we don't always have the luxury? Is it that you're going to have someone from our agency or other agencies partner with you to solve this problem? Is it that we're going to link you to civil legal services? Whatever's going on, document.
Okay.
So if you've got texts or emails or someone witnessed something, make sure that you're making note of all of that.
How about the being confrontational? Does that ever work? Like if someone, because I feel like predators will try it, they'll test the water, and then maybe they'll continue on or maybe they won't. So if you're not, later on in life, there had been times when there's been advances and I'm like, shut it down. So then it's like, it's done. So would you advocate someone if they feel it in their, constitution to be like, no,
knock that off.
Get your hands off me,
Right. So I think it depends who you are as a person, right? You strike me as a person that could do that really, really well, right?
Do I?
Yeah. You strike me as a person that could do that really, really well.
Ain't nobody harassing us over here.
Exactly.
I could probably do that really, really well. Some people are in this country without legal documentation, are very disempowered, and they may have too much at risk, at stake to do that. So I think you've got to appraise your own circumstances. But certainly, if you feel that you can, say, hey, knock that off, right at the beginning. But you may not feel that you have that opportunity. And so in that case, you have to look for alternative solutions.
Now, if someone is undocumented and they call your organization, is that a problem? Can you service them without that being an issue?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
So
that's great.
Again, with all sexual assault centers, you don't have to report a crime to receive services, and we're not going to make you report a crime to receive services. So the great thing is that if you're in this at your place of work, you can be getting help while you find your way out of it.
Oh, good.
That's great.
Very good.
That's really good.
Very good.
I was going to say yesterday, not yesterday, I forget when that special aired.
Thursday.
But it was Thursday, but I watched it last night because I had to tape it and watch it and take my notes. But one of the things that one of the ladies that was in the audience that asked this really brilliant question is like how, we're having all this uprising, people are losing their jobs, and these men who have harassed or assaulted these women allegedly, and so now all this money is, but we have a president who got elected with the same language in the conduct. So this is why I feel like it's just going to go away, quietly in the night in another month. By January 2018, I'd be really surprised if we're still having this conversation.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about that in the car on the way here, actually, because I was thinking a lot about rape culture and the norms in our society, and I was remembering when the Trumps were on 60 Minutes when this whole incident came out, and I remember the First Lady saying something like, it's just boy talk.
Yes.
Boys will be boys.
Yes.
And again, this is where we say this is the behavior that sustains a culture that supports sexual violence and harassment. This is not boys will be boys. Yeah. Boys don't have to be this way.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Oh, my goodness.
And this brings me to something that I kind of wanted to bring up, too. Let's talk about how do we as women counterbalance the women out there who will use this to their advantage. Okay, because let's be real. There are women that know that they have assets, literally their ass, their breasts, their coochie, to get what it is that they want, because that's a very real thing. People, it is very real. Go after doctors. People go put themselves in this position. Okay, well, I know that I want to be in this movie, and I know what this director needs and wants, and so I'm going to go do it. So I think that helps perpetuate the people. I mean, the guys aren't going to continue to do it if they hadn't had sure, they've had some no's, I'm sure, but I'm sure I had a lot of yeses. Now, whether the women were felt forced to do it or, maybe just suggested it themselves, how do we stop that? Because I think that there are a lot of women out there that are like, you know what, listen, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. And why not use what I got to get where I want to go? What's wrong with that?
It's called prostitution.
Not necessarily, though. No, but it's not. I mean, and it comes from getting that promotion at McDonald's to working at a shoe store to being in the operating room. Listen, there are a lot of
I think you got to look at. I think you got to look at why is it that women feel they have to do those things. Do you think men feel they have to do those things?
Not as much as women.
Right.
I do think that there are probably men, I'm not going to dish you out there, that have been in those positions.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
But the majority are.
But when we're talking about, this is what a woman feels that she may have to do for that promotion, for that job, for that opportunity in that film, we get back to the problem with the norms in our society.
So how do we change that woman?
So
what happens to that woman? How can we change her?
Well, we can't change a person, right? But we can change
Felicia.
Let's change. Bring him on in here and push a button and we'll change.
But I think we have to start the dialogue about, because people joke about the casting couch.
Yes.
So there's the problem. People joke about the casting couch.
Like, let's not make it a joke anymore.
So we got to talk about this is unacceptable behavior. So how we change that woman is change the world they live in, right? It's larger than that. It's about we need to create an environment where you and I don't have to use something about our sexuality or our femininity to advance in our career. And we need to let women know that they don't have to do that.
So if we have a friend that is one of these type of people, which I don't, I'm just saying.
Yeah. It ain't me.
Do we? Yeah. Not at all. Do we then, as women, can we counsel those people? Do we? Because that's the bigger picture. But she could sit there and say, well, until our world changes, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it to my advantage. So I'm not going to wait around for the world to change. I got to go get mine.
So the best thing to talk about is the pros and cons, right? So I hear you. I mean, because they are speaking a truth, right? We can't ignore a truth. I hear you. Let's talk about the pros and cons of that. So are you going to be able to live with that? Is that what is that message that you're giving out to your profession about yourself? So is it now going to mean that everyone's going to know that about you, and the next job you want to get, you're going to have to perform the same way? So when will you want to stop?
Put the onus on them.
When will you want to stop that, right?
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was interesting was one of the quotes was there are silent victories. And I think it was Gretchen Carlson who said that these victories are payoffs. Like there are a lot of, it's like the open secret. They use that terminology. It's the open secret. Everybody knows this happens. They get paid off and they just, move along.
The women.
Or
the people who are
claiming allegedly these actions towards them, so they get paid off and they move along and they move, they just silently sign. One of the things I thought was interesting too is that they're trying to do away with these non-disclosure agreements because that puts a muzzle on you. That's that,
and it's the furthering of the silence of this issue.
Yes.
And it's the furthering of the shame and humiliation.
And it's a big issue because privately owned companies can kind of do what they want. Obviously there are guidelines, but they could have these non-disclosure. I mean, we have people work for us. We're like, listen, there are things you may see and you need to sign this. And, so like we're thinking like, what does that mean? Like we have to revisit that. But
I think people signing that have to ask those questions too and have to understand that like if it's spelled out in my NDA that, I can't tell your business, but that doesn't mean you can get to touch me.
Right. But that's telling that person's business. That's how they get around that language. So I find it, so the lady who was from Congress, I believe it was a senator who was on the show, saying how really big of an issue this is. You have to literally change arbitration. She said we have to remove from force arbitrate, like all this. It's like a big picture here. So this is great that the bells are clanging. They're not ringing, they're clanging. But now moving forward, what are they going to do? Congress, what is it going to do? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the secret fund that they talked about, which was fascinating.
Jesus, fix it.
That was like, I was like, what? And the taxpayers the taxpayers are paying for this secret fund that Congress pays out. She's trying to change this program. But I guess in part of it, real quickly, how can I explain it? So what they do is you, the person who says, I need help, this person is doing this to me, they make you go to counseling, supposedly is what she said. And she was like, yeah, we're trying to revamp it and change it and make it, better, and, so that it's not necessarily maybe the taxpayers are paying for it, or that it comes out of the individual pocket who you are making the accusation to, instead of us paying for it. But she wants to, in her new bill that she's addressing, she wants to take out the counseling part. And I disagree with that. I think that they need to have counseling. How do you feel about that? How did you feel about that?
The abuser perpetrator to have
counseling. Yes. Because that's what it's like required. So she's like, it's ridiculous. There shouldn't be counseling.
Well, because there's 30 days of this and 30 days of this and 30 days of this. Like 90 days later, then you can file, a formal complaint.
And I can see condensing it or changing. But when she said, I want to take out the counseling, that was like a red flag for me. I'm like, okay, revamp it, but don't take away the counseling, because I think that's necessary. I think that's needed. What do you?
Well, as long as the counseling isn't predicated on the person not being able to move forward with any claim or accusation against another person. And then we have to think about, well, what kind of counseling is that? Is that counseling in a sex offenders group? What does that counseling look like? Do you get to choose your own private therapist? Because to me that would be kind of an out. Right? So I would say that if they're going to maintain counseling in there, then it's got to be provided by individuals who have expertise in serving that particular population versus just go see a therapist.
But no, don't remove it, right?
Well, don't remove it, but don't make anyone's ability to move forward with their accusation contingent on, well, we're going to let the person get counseling and, in 90 days.
We'll revisit it.
No.
Yeah. So moving forward, I think what we need to let everybody know who's in a situation where they've been violated, sexual assault or harassed, that there is they're not alone. There is a place they can call. There's a place they can land. We didn't touch. we're running out of time, but I wanted to talk about domestic abuse and how this kind of it's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
And it's actually all connected in my mind. I think it's all connected. But again, strengthunited.org. I said .com. It's .org, right? .com. Strengthunited.org is a one-stop resource where you can go and get all the information. If you feel you're in a situation, you don't know what to do, you need answers, you have a resource there for answers in any regard of just being afraid or confused.
And if you don't live in LA County, they'll be able to give you resources throughout the nation. And just feel free to call and ask a question, and we'll get you an answer.
Is there something that you can Google, like if someone is listening in a different part of the country, can they just Google something maybe in their own area? Because these are all local area codes. There's not an 800 number,
you
right?
You can Google RAINN.org, Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, and they will link you to the closest center based on your zip code.
Well, that's how we found her.
Right.
Because we went there first.
Yes.
So
we wanted that information.
Yes, it does work. Yes,
because we need to give the people who are not local. And then was there an 800 number on there? I can't remember.
Yes, there is.
Yes,
there is.
Yes. Yeah. So you can call. There are resources for you to be able to call an 800 number so that you don't have to, go to a payphone.
Don't be alone.
Yes.
Don't be alone. Don't be afraid. Yes. Don't be intimidated. Don't be embarrassed. I think they said there was a lot of shame attached to it.
Don't feel responsible.
Yes, or intimidated or shame. It's not your fault. Anything that's doing to you that you don't want to be done to you is not your fault.
Yeah, and also too, really quickly, she wasn't on the town hall, but the lady that started the Me Too movement. It's been 10 years since she started that Me Too movement, and I didn't even realize that it was started way back a long time ago.
I didn't either.
And it's not something that you really think about. Like I hadn't thought about that incident that happened with me since it happened, and I had moved on, and I was young, and I've lived my life all this time, and I'm thinking, have I ever had this instance happen to me? Because I've never had the good fortune of never being molested, never being raped.
So. A quick question. Since this has started the past couple of months, are you guys getting more calls?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
So people are feeling empowered and saying,
and I think that's the important thing about
great.
it, right?
Yes.
That it's giving the community of survivors strength.
Great.
Yes.
There's a silver lining in this story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
continue the conversation
Yes.
too, because we are out of time.
Teacher boys. Yes, we're out of
Teacher
town.
boys.
Teacher
Tom,
boys,
Tom.
teacher girls, give everybody self-esteem.
Yes.
And really quickly, again, our show today has been brought to you by our sponsor, lovely sponsor has been brought to you by Robert Mata Designs. If you're looking for that perfect gift or that perfect guy, go to www.robertmatadesigns.com. Robert Mata Designs for the well-dressed man.
Yes, and thank you, Kim, for being
Thank you
here.
for
This
having
has been
me.
wonderful. You're going to
Thank
have to
you.
come back because this conversation has to continue.
Yes,
We hope you've been
May 5th.
informed, educated, and slightly entertained today. We will catch you next time on Table for Five, LA
yes.
Talk Radio.
Have a great week.
Have a great week.
You're listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.